This is Calcat, the Calcatster, and this is a review of Star Trek Stranger Worlds, the endless circle. No, wait, the broken circle. The endless circle is something I did. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's a couple months after the last episode, or here, yes, following TNG, kind of, but it's set in the original Star Trek period, just a few years before Kirk takes command of the Enterprise. Yeah, so it should be like just a few years. Yeah, so they apparently the Khan lady is trapped on a Klingon colony, similar to the Klingon colony in the other world, and she's in trouble. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Pike has decided to go and advocate for Una, who has been captured by the Federation guys, in the same way to the end of Lower Decks Season 2 and beginning of Season 3, copying that. So they're going to cross over with Lower Decks later. Well, let's see that one. But yeah, that's tomorrow is the name of that episode. That's coming up. So this one is, yeah, the broken circle, and it has weird, like, alien Klingon things. Yeah, that's Klingons. Then they corrected them. That's what Klingons are. Spock and crew steal the Enterprise, kind of like in Star Trek 3, from Space Dock 1. I'm not sure where Starbase 1 is in the story. It should be Earth. Space Dock should be Starbase 1, but it's not. So I guess it kind of makes sense that it's Starbase. Then it's got to be Alpha Centauri, because that would be the closest star to the Sun. If it's in Alpha Centauri, then it makes sense. So, Proxima Centauri. Probably Proxima Centauri. Yeah, so we have, that's probably where it is. They never said, though. There's a quirky Cillian lady on the ship who is an engineer. Knows they're going to steal the ship, and she doesn't mind. And she looks a little bit like the character of Gillian Taylor from TOS. Can't be, of course. That would be impossible. But or possibly somebody from Enterprise. But she's not that either. You know what they could have done is they could have got Linda Park from Enterprise and made her look 100 years old. But no, they got somebody that was 70, player. Somebody else. It's not the same person. Anyway, so yeah, it's not one of ours. But she is Cillian-like. But then again, so is the Allurian and the other one on there too. Two Cillians on the ship. So we have yeah, which is inconsistent with the timeline. They shouldn't be there yet. But oh well, maybe in Discovery they ended up being. Not the Columbia or something. Yeah, the Columbia, which was the basis for the other show. So here we have, yeah, I just want to summarize the episode and not go into all the other stuff because it's on a cell phone camera. So it's going to be real brief. So there's like, yeah, so we have yeah, they go to this disputed Klingon planet where we get to share it every other week or something. And they go down there incognito. Yeah, Dr. Mbenga whispers a whole lot. That's annoying. And it's like, he doesn't project. I told you before, you can project without necessarily whispering. So yeah, they go to the planet. There's a hidden underground lair where they've rebuilt a Crossfield class ship from Discovery. It look more like a TOS ship. Different. The cells look different. And the Klingons are going to use that to do a false flag operation. So somebody is a right-wing fan on the ship, and conspiracy theorist, right? Not sure which writer that is, but that never works. Yeah, I'll just disguise the ship as somebody else's ship. Yeah, Spock, the crew, and them arrive in the Enterprise. They're hiding out. The doctors and the nurse are hiding on the Crossfield class ship, which takes off. Now, there's earlier on, there was a blood wine drinking stuff going on. Also, the Trek Yards people should be happy that they included a Continga class battlecruiser in this one. They actually listened to the Trek Yards guys and they said, let's include a actual Continga battlecruiser from classic Trek in the story. A little bit earlier than it should be. Then Kirk and crew shouldn't have been surprised later on. But Kirk conveniently wasn't there. So Spock just said, oh, I didn't notice. No, he wouldn't have noticed. Yeah, so there's a little bit of an error there. Of course, it's not really in the continuity of TOS anyway. Not really. The ship is way too advanced. The spaceship going. Thinking that Spock's crew fights the fake ship, blow it up, and they have to rescue the doctor and the nurse from deep space. As they do, and then he screams at revives the nurse and then screams, Nurse Chapel. Uhura is now an ensign. The other lady, up later, the Klingon warship captain agrees to go hang out with them. It's just a little weird. After all that, you'd think he would take off. Want to be around, but they kind of explain away that a little bit by saying that the rigid Klingons on the planet that look better than the Discovery ones, like more than TNG era, are of a different sect of Klingons. That there's that different sect of Klingons thing again, different language Klingons, which they can't say is entirely their idea, because back in the TOS books, they did something like that. Back in the books, and they're written on the pawns and symbols and that kind of thing. Did that back in the books. So in the books, they said, oh yeah, the rigid-headed Klingons are different from the humanoid-looking ones. And they're just a different group of Klingons. Like the rigid Romulans are different from the other Romulans. Fine. Okay. It's a little bit of a retcon, but then again, the whole show is. So we have... it's kind of odd that the Red Letter Media guys commented on this. They don't want to do any of this show. They don't want to do any reviews of the show. Partly because it's kind of like the Silly Trek version. They were sort of in, or sort of homaged in, and they're like, we don't want to do that. We don't want to talk about it. We're not going to talk about Stranger Worlds. They should, but yeah, Captain Ortegas is the helmsman, or Ortegas, is a little silly for an officer on a ship, and behaving as silly, and that's odd. That she acts like she's like a schoolgirl in a space mission and a cadet thing, like a 90210 kind of thing. That's a little weird. She wouldn't really do that as an officer on a ship, but okay. It's like, oh, I can totally do this. I'm totally brilliant. She's gonna become like Wesley if she's not careful. Oh, poor Bill Wheaton. Oh, no, that's fine. But yeah, except for that, or being silly, yeah, I mean, if she's a Sicilian, that makes sense. She said, why don't they just hire us and then we'll write an episode? Yeah. They have listened to us though. They did some updates of this stuff. Yeah, so they have listened to our channel. So they and to the other ones. There's the other ones too, which is weird because we don't have a whole lot of subscribers. But yeah. So anyway, I guess that's pretty much it. It's called the Broken Circle, after the weird canyon they landed in, the lithium planet. They're the lithium planet, so even though there's the other Praxis is another dilithium planet, but has a moon of Kronos. Yeah, there's a bunch of odd stuff going on here. I'm not sure entirely why they're doing that, but that's okay. And yeah, it's fine for what it is. It's a good premiere. They didn't need to do Balance of Terror for the finale. Redoing that was a little silly, but here I think they did a good job doing what they're going to do, and yeah, in the end it worked. I mean, I guess you got to update some things, but yeah, coming up on the 5-year mission, they're gonna run right up onto it. And It's going to be Kirk and Spock. Like they're just rewriting the Abrams movies. They need to go forward. They need to do more. Shift forward. Well, they're working on Star Trek Legacy, but yeah, can't say much about that yet. But yes, they will go forward, but not in this one. Yeah, and Lower Decks takes place in 2384 this season, so go back to 2260 to visit this other ship. It's got to be a holodeck thing or something. If it's time travel to the 21st century, it really doesn't make sense. Let's see, I'll go to a Star Trek convention, which would be similar to a Silly Trek episode. There, you got it. Anyway, that's my review.